Alright, so we're in the pumpkin patch again. Can't get enough of these pumpkins. And let's see, it's the middle of August, August 13th actually. And things, you know, are kind of starting to look a little late summery. You can tell if you look at the leaves real close that the grasshoppers have been in chewing on the leaves. And something that I kind of anticipated, and it has happened, but I think it's okay, is that the straw that we used to mulch the pumpkins when they were very first coming up and they were just tiny, we mulched this entire patch, and it was oat straw. And obviously the oats weren't all rotted off of the oat straw, and so we've come up with quite an oat crop here over the pumpkin patch, as you can see. But I'm okay with that, because when we're done with the pumpkins, we will rototill in this whole patch again, and the green oats and this sort of thing in here will actually provide what they call a green manure back into the soil, kind of a composting product, and a little bit of nitrogen that will get pulled back in, both on the roots and in the plant itself. So it's okay, because in the end it will just provide some more material to make the soil stronger and better for next year. So I want to show you a few of the pumpkins I have. First of all, I have in my pocket here the packages of the seeds that I planted. And because I planted these pumpkins for a women's group in town that does a pumpkin fundraiser in the fall, they take all the pumpkins, they paint them really pretty, and then they sell them for, I don't know, I think $10 to $30 each, depending on the size and the amount of time that went into the painting. And they make quite a bit of money off that fundraiser, and then they take that money and they put it back into organizations in the group that do things for women and children. It's the local Zonta group that does it, to give them a little plug in Sturgis here. But they asked me this year if I would be willing to try growing pumpkins, because they've been getting them from East River, South Dakota. So that means one of the ladies has to, you know, get some sort of vehicle and a trailer, go East River, pick up pumpkins, bring them back in the fall when they're ready to do their painting for their fundraiser. And so it's an expense and it's time consuming. And I said, sure, I'll try, but I don't know a whole lot about pumpkins. So this is what we're learning. One is that if your mulch isn't truly rotten, you do end up with some sort of a crop alongside of your pumpkins, but that's okay. So I have several types. One of them that they asked me that I do with some smaller pumpkins that are smooth skinned. Basically all of them need to be smooth skinned because they paint them. So I just did some little of the small sugar pumpkins, or sweet pumpkins, pie pumpkins, whatever you want to call them. And they get to like 5 to 7 pounds. And I planted quite a few of those out here. And then I did some Connecticut field pumpkins, which do kind of the jack-o'-lantern size, 15 to 25 pounds, mostly smooth skin on those. I also did what's called a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, and they get 8 to 15 pounds, so not absolutely huge, but a nice size. And then I just did some fun ones for the heck of it. Some of the little Jack Be Little, the little tiny ornamental ones, because they like to take those and paint them. And I did some of the white pumpkins, they're called Casper. I believe I did some green pumpkins also that just kind of stay in eerie blue-green color, but I don't see those seeds here. And then I did some of these what's called peanut pumpkins that do get real knobby, lumpy looking, kind of warty looking. You can't paint them, but I did them anyways just to see if they would grow here. So I'm kind of, you know, experimenting many ways. One, to see if I can grow pumpkins. Two, to see if our soil and everything that we have set up here with the mulch and everything, drip irrigation lines, is good for the pumpkins. And 3, just to do a little experimenting with the different kinds to see what grows where. And I have a chart that I kept track of where I planted all the different kinds. So when I start picking them, I should be able to track back how many pumpkins I got per kind of pumpkin. So enough about that. Let's look at some pumpkins that we've got here. Okay, so we've got one down here that is kind of it's small right now, but it's kind of a nice size for where we're at in the season, because they can still grow and mature for another month and a half before we'll need to be picking them for the ladies. And so there's just a nice little round size pumpkin. We've got some here that are just tiny, but they've obviously been pollinated. Here, just to go over that again, because I did another video too about pollination. Here's one that I don't know yet if this one got pollinated or not. 'Cause this is what the pumpkin fruit looks like when the flower blooms. It's this size. So this one may go on and get bigger and bigger and make a full pumpkin like these are doing. So you can tell that these are several days older and they're really, you know, taking on the nutrients in the soil and the water and growing. Another one over here. If you can see that or not. But this little guy, we don't know yet. I could come back in a few days and he'll be big like them if I marked him, or I could come back in a few days and he'll just be a little yellow shriveled up nothing and he'll just fall off the vine and he'll be done. So that's the way pumpkins are. They get pollinated, they keep growing, or they don't. Here's another nice one right in here. And by the way the skin is looking, I don't know. See, I don't have my chart in front of me, but these could be some of those funky skinned ones that I planted. They're kind of mottled and the stem is very cool, real variegated stem. All right, so then here's another kind of pumpkin that we're growing. Let's try to get all the extra stuff out of the way here. This is just a little one right now. I'm guessing he's either gonna be one of the little Jack B. Littles or he's gonna be one of the white ones because he's just got a really light yellow color. Here's another one over here. I'll see if I can lift it without hurting it. Can you see that, Rick?
Yep.
At all? Mm-hmm. So, and then there's some little tiny ones over there. It looks like this one got pollinated because it's slightly larger. The little one there, I'm not sure yet if it got pollinated. All right, so then here's a couple more pumpkins that are coming along really nicely. Now this one, I don't know, we did have a little bit of wind damage out here a while back where there was a wind went through and we had a roll of fencing and the wind picked the fencing up and kind of tossed it out in the middle of the pumpkin patch. So this could be damage from something like that, or it could just be, you know, grasshoppers were chewing on it, or maybe a rabbit decided to try it a little bit and then didn't like it, and it's recovering from it. But it is something to take into consideration when you're growing things like pumpkins and squash. Here's a nice little one back here too, and they're coming along really good. This one's a little more mature than some of the others that I showed you out there, and then I've seen some that are bigger than this one yet. Another thing, I had talked about pumpkins that don't get pollinated and how they just shrivel up and fall off of the vine. This little tiny yellow guy here is one that did not get pollinated. And he has no substance to him. He looks kind of wussy. See, and he just pops right off the vine. His flower, of course, is dried up because it's all done. But that's one that didn't get pollinated, and so it just goes back into the soil. But then you can see on this same plant, there are several that have. Here's a nice one over here. Kind of a weird color. Don't really know what that's all about. But this plant did put on several good ones. So just that female flower didn't get pollinated, but these other ones did. So there's a little cross section of some of the pumpkins that we're growing this year, and they seem to be coming along okay for this first year. My goal is to get 300 to 350 pumpkins. I don't know if I'll get that or not, but it's not too high a pressure. The ladies are understanding for whatever I can grow, and we'll learn from this season and probably try it again next year and see if we can do bigger and better.